All right. Welcome everyone to the November 18th, 2025 meeting of the Wenham Select Board. It is 6:33 and we have present this evening on this virtual Select Board meeting, Select Board members Gary Cheeseman, Deirdre Parati, and Peter Clay. And also present in the Zoom are our Assistant Town Administrator, Joe Pesamato, who will be running matters alongside myself this evening. Um, excuse me, Michelle McGovern and Jeff Soulard. And it looks like that is everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Just 1 second. It looks like Karen has come in on the attendee side, Joe.
Yes, thank you. I will promote Karen right now
Yeah.
to a panelist. Hi, Karen.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
Hi, Karen.
That's okay.
Yeah, we haven't started yet. So that brings us to public input, public comment. This is for public comment on matters falling within the select board's jurisdiction, but not on the current agenda. Any public comment should be on items that aren't otherwise on the agenda. And we have a 2 minute per person speaking limit. Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard in public comment?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to town administrators update and town announcements. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to first say we had a very successful Veterans Day memorial festivities. It was last Tuesday, the 11th, started with the remembrance at Cheeseman Memorial at Pingree Park, followed by a ceremony at Veterans Memorial, corner of Main and Arbor Street. Following that, there was light refreshments at the Wenham Fire Department. Just I want to give a special thanks to the police and fire departments, DPW, the Boys and Girl Scouts, the VetCom members, particularly Dean Peterson, and the entire select board for attending. So I think it was not the best weather day. It was a little chilly out there, but definitely didn't deter residents. We had a great showing, so very successful event. I wanted to mention bag leave collections. Bag leaves will be picked up on the following dates. The first one is this Saturday, November 22nd. There will be one on Saturday, December 13th. Just a few notes. Leaves must be placed in brown paper, lawn and leaf bags or loose in barrels. Bags or barrels must be on the curb by 7 a.m. on collection days only. Do not use plastic bags for leaf collection. Do not mix brush and sticks with leaves. Loose leaves on the curb without being contained in a paper bag or barrel will not be collected. And you can please contact the DPW with any questions. Their number is 978-468-5520, extension 6. On Wednesday, December 10th, at the First Church in Wenham from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., there will be a water resiliency chat. Residents will be able to hear from Hamilton and Wenham town staff. Kate Mallory will be there along with Ernest Ashley, the chair of the Water Commission, and they'll be discussing how we are collectively meeting challenges to our water supplies and river health. So this will be a great event. Please try to attend that as well. The 8th annual Wreaths Across America will be on Saturday, December 13th at 12 p.m. This is hosted by the Wenham Veterans Committee. This year, 525 wreaths will be placed on veterans' graves buried within Wenham cemeteries. Again, the opening ceremony will be at Main Street Cemetery by the flagpole at 12 noon. Veterans representing branches of the military will place service wreaths on memorial stands. All who attend will be divided up into teams with a veteran leader to assist in wreath placement throughout the cemetery. Please help us remember, honor, and teach by sponsoring a wreath, volunteering, or inviting friends to help. Contributions are welcome to help ensure that all 525 veterans' graves are recognized. I did also want to mention that the Town Hall geothermal project is nearing completion, and we will be back to our regular offices on December 1st, it sounds like. This started back around June. Originally, we had the second floor staff up on the first floor. Now it's in reverse. We moved to the first floor earlier this fall. So we're looking forward to having that completed, and that'll be on December 1st. Finally, I did want to mention our police chief, Chief Kevin DiNapoli, was elected to the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police Association Executive Board. This is a great honor. This position also means that the chief will be president of the Massachusetts Chiefs in approximately 3 years. So that is a very great honor. So congratulations to Chief DiNapoli. And that is all I had.
Thank you, Joe. And congratulations to the chief from the board as well. I see that he's on the other side of the virtual transom here. So um, I wanted to comment briefly on the select board vote that was taken, I believe, 2 weeks ago to designate and recommend to the finance committee the transfer of $25,000 in reserve funds to Accord to address the situation that arose from the government shutdown and a shortage of um, benefits um, for I've apologized because I'm going to call it food stamp recipients, but I know that there's a different acronym that is a better descriptor of that. Um, I want the public to be aware, which it may be already if it attended the select board meeting last Thursday night, that the select board voted after consultation with the court and various other stakeholders not to move forward with that transfer at this time, because between the time that we took the vote and the time that the finance committee took its vote and the preparation of a grant agreement that would have carried that out, Governor Healy and her administration announced that it would ensure full funding of SNAP benefits. Now I'm remembering the acronym. And so that sort of removed the rationale for our vote 2 weeks ago. I was not present for the meeting Thursday night, for which I apologize. I had a work commitment that came up and I wasn't able to attend, but I appreciate the quorum of my colleagues who took that on and took that vote. And I believe, although those of you who were there could speak more definitively on this, I believe that the sentiment of the board is that it's possible that that $25,000 may need to be deployed again, unfortunately, depending on things that may occur in Washington in the coming months, but we'll see. So again, thank you for taking that on last Thursday night on kind of an emergency basis. I also wanted to thank the Finance Committee, as I did the night of their meeting, for supporting this and unanimously agreeing to that transfer based on the need that existed at that time. So just wanted to make the public aware of where that stood. And that was all that I had. Why don't we go down the line as I see people, and I think Gary, you'd be next if you have any
I'm
updates.
good.
Okay.
No.
Deirdre. Okay. Karen.
Yeah, I just wanted to reach out and let folks know that we do have a large contingency of children in the community that are going to be going caroling on December 13th. I believe it's a Friday night. If anybody feels the need that they would like some cheer, as well as anybody that may or may not be homebound that needs a visit from some it's lovely, probably freezing children outside, more than welcome to send me an email. We will make sure that that happens.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Peter.
I have nothing, Ben.
All right. Thanks very much. That brings us to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda are 4 sets of minutes from July 22nd, August 5th, August 19th, and September 9th of this year. Is anyone interested in setting any of those aside for individual discussion, or otherwise I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Looks like no one has any particular comments on minutes, so entertain a motion to approve item A on the consent agenda.
I move to approve item A on the consent agenda. Peter Clyde.
Second, Karen.
All right, all those in favor, Gary,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Deirdre,
Yes.
and Ben is yes. Thank you very much. That moves us to new business. Item B is a promotion. So it looks like perhaps we're going to have Officer Princey and Chief DiNapoli and perhaps some others coming over to speak. Joe, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chief, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us on. I see Officer Princey there, calls permitting. Hopefully, she doesn't have to run. And Deputy Chief Lucantoni, thank you for hopping on as well. 2 weeks ago, I had great news, and tonight I have great news. We're very, very lucky for the future of the Wenham Police Department. The PD and the town is very lucky to have another incredible sergeant candidate that's going to be recommended by me to take effect as a patrol sergeant. As you know, we had a pretty thorough process. We had some phenomenal candidates. I was super proud, as mentioned before, of everyone that put themselves in for it. And Michelle did a phenomenal job in the process. Not surprised whatsoever. She came to us with a good amount of experience. Coming from Mashpee Police Department. She's got, I believe, about 11 years full-time experience. A bachelor's degree from University of South Carolina and a master's degree from UL. And she's also made an incredible military commitment to the Air Force, which we all appreciate. And for the last couple of years, she was a negotiator on NEMLIC as well. No doubt in my mind that she's going to do a phenomenal job moving us in the right direction. We are very, very lucky to have the people that we have on board, and Michelle's going to be a part of that as well. So I strongly recommend that she be appointed to the position of patrol sergeant, and with an effective date of this Sunday, November 23rd.
Excellent. Any comments from members of the board or questions? All right, entertain a motion to act on the chief's recommendation to promote Officer Princey, if that is the appropriate step that you are seeking, Chief.
Yes, to patrol sergeant. Officer Princey will become Sergeant Princey with your approval.
Great. Do I hear a motion to approve the promotion of Officer Princey to patrol sergeant?
So moved, Gary.
Peter seconds.
Great. I will take a roll call vote. Deirdre,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Ben is yes. And a well-deserved and warm congratulations, Sergeant Princey.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Chief,
you very
anything
much.
else?
No, I just really appreciate the board being so supportive of the police department. Since I've been here, my 9 years here, I've never felt like you guys didn't have our back, and this is no different supporting this. And we're very lucky to have the support of not only the board, but the residents. So I just want to thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate those comments, and thank you to Deputy Chief Lucatoni for joining as well. That brings us to item C, which is an update from Joe regarding the solar canopy project. Joe?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just by way of background, when we were working on the town hall geothermal project that I mentioned earlier, the town did look at the idea of adding a solar canopy at the same time. Ultimately, the town decided not to move forward with it then, but the concept stayed sort of on our radar as something worth revisiting, especially as federal incentives improved and our sustainability work advanced. That brings us to the project now under review. Um, the Historic District Commission will be holding a public hearing next Monday, November 24th at 6 p.m. on Zoom for the town's application to install a solar canopy in the town hall back parking lot. The goal of this project is pretty straightforward. So it would be a canopy. It would fully offset town hall's carbon footprint, making the building's operations carbon neutral. Financially, it's also a strong opportunity. There's a federal tax credit that covers about 30% of the projected cost, but the credit expires on January 5th, so we need to show at least 5% completion by that date. If we do miss that January 5th deadline, we lose the credit and the project becomes much more difficult to afford. Not that it's impossible, but as for the HDC process, I just wanted to mention the commission has so far reviewed the project twice, once in September and once in November, but has not yet reached a decision. There's been a few different concerns from them, mainly the appearance of the canopy. They also question whether the project needs approval from the Mass Historical Commission, which we checked in with town council, and it does not need approval since the project will be involving federal tax credits and not a grant. But again, the HCC, just expressed some concerns that the canopies weren't, looking, they weren't sort of, they didn't look historic enough in the district, for lack of a better term. So we went through several different iterations, proposals, some of which were wooden canopies. I will note that the project fits squarely within the town's master plan, which calls for achieving net zero emissions by 2040, which is similar to the Commonwealth's goal. And again, the master plan also references installing solar on municipal properties as well. So we're exploring alternatives, full wood structures, steel structures with wood cladding, and also we're even attempting to, as a plan B, relocate the canopy on the upper lot, sort of behind Enon 1 Town Hall. The closest option to staying budget neutral would be the original proposal, which was the steel canopy in the lower lot. But again, that might not even be quite budget neutral. Just costs have increased sharply since September. This is because of the expiring IRS tax credit. There's high demand from, contractors and suppliers that are trying to finish the projects before the deadline. The tax credit would cover about 30% of the total project costs. And again, missing the deadline, you could argue that, in January after the deadline, there'll be less pressure on installing the canopies across the country, so it could essentially lower the prices. But Steve and I still feel that the best price right now would be to hopefully approve this by January 5th if possible. But again, it has to go through the HDC first next Monday. Um, I won't get too into the intricate, financial details, but if we were to fund the solar canopy project 100% with the tax exempt lease purchase, also known as the TELP, the debt service would essentially cost means the project would not be budget neutral. This means the project would exceed all the cost savings for cheaper electricity. Again, we still have that net zero goal, which we would reach, but still would not be budget neutral. We could theoretically make a down payment using free cash or another source to reduce the size of the TELP and minimize the annual debt service as an option. But kind of just going from least expensive to the most expensive would be, again, that lower parking lot steel option. Then you could go with the lower canopy with wood option in the lower lot. In the upper lot, steel option would be sort of the next level, and then the most expensive would be the upper lot with the wooden option, which just because of the materials being used and less power reaching the canopy in the upper lot, that would be the most expensive. But yeah, I'm open to any questions. I do have Jeff Soulard here. Jeff, did I explain that okay? Some of the intricate details. It's a little confusing with the TELP, but
Yeah, I think you've covered it pretty well. The only point I might make is that you mentioned that there is a federal tax credit, which will ultimately lower the cost of the project. So, but upfront we have to fund the project entirely upfront. So we still have to take out a TELP for the full 820 or up to 895, depending on the options. So it's a tough spot where we're actually borrowing more money than we need in waiting for the tax credit. So you end up probably spending a little bit too much interest on that, because usually these TELPs will have a minimum payment, a minimum period of like 5 years before you can pay down any extra principal. So, what occurred to me after talking to Joe, we may look at other options. We could look at using the State House Note Program instead of using the TELP through ESG, which would be both more flexible and potentially have a competitive or lower interest rate. But yeah, ultimately the idea is, in order to be neutral, we're going to have to put some money up front, which I would think at a bare minimum, that's sort of the target. I mean, we all want to do the right thing here, but at the same time, you'd prefer not to pay more to do it.
Questions from the board?
Any questions,
I have none.
Joe? Gary?
Yeah, perhaps Joe or Jeff, what's entailed in getting to the 5% by January?
I mean, I believe what Bill Garbati at ESG had said is, I mean, just a lot of the very general, planning, ordering some materials, that type of thing. The bare minimum to just get us to that 5%. But I don't think it's a heavy lift to get there. He doesn't feel.
Well, certainly I would be in favor of one of the designs, as it gets us towards our net neutral goal that we set in the master plan. And also, I think at the same time, perhaps we need to remember that from the historic district, I mean, it is a parking lot. The upper was just the site of the DPW. So there's really no thing historic about it. And that we need to move ahead with the times and get to net zero if we can. Also, I would suggest too that at the same time, knowing the need for parking spots, have we looked at putting another row of parking spots in between the current parking and in on one, that slope there, that we could put in another row there, and that perhaps would be able to slide the facility back a little bit and perhaps not be so pronounced. It's just an idea.
Yes, thank you.
But let's go.
Okay, thank you. Deirdre, it looks like you're have your hand up.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
I agree with everything Gary just said. And also, it was my understanding that there is either a law or a draft legislation that prohibits historic district commissions from denying solar projects based on aesthetics alone. Is that correct? And is it draft or is it actually enacted?
There is enacted law currently as chapter MGL 40C. So the Historic District Commission is obviously charged with ensuring that the historic district keeps that sort of historical facade with its exterior work. However, they operate under Mass General Law 40C, and that law says that this was enacted, I think, earlier this year, February, March. It says that there will be heightened consideration given to climate action and projects such as solar. So essentially, the HCC would have to, say that, they'd have to give a basic, reason why they wouldn't want it in a district. But in my opinion, it couldn't be just for appearance alone. There have to be other considerations. But there is definitely heightened consideration given to solar projects. That's under Chapter 40C.
Thank you for that reference.
Thank you, Joe. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Are there any questions or comments from anyone else, including members of the public, of which there appear to be zero in our Zoom? So I guess that would be no. All right. Before I forget, just to go off topic for 1 second, I was remiss in not recognizing you, Jeff Soulard, in my comments earlier about navigating the issues with Accord and Snap. So thank you for your leadership in trying to help us navigate through some of that with the grant agreement and dealing with town council and the updates regarding what was going on with the payment of SNAP benefits and liaising with the FinCom and so on. So thank you for your efforts there. And that I think brings us to back to the topic at hand. And Gary, did you want to say something?
No, just a question. Do we need a vote here to move this forward then?
I I don't think so, Gary. I would just encourage folks if they have, if they want to make a public comment, that public hearing is next Monday. I think Steve and I are sort of visualizing this going through the HTC first because it is under their jurisdiction, and if that passes, it'll then go on to FinCom and then ultimately this board. Again, we'll be under, assuming the HTC hopefully approves this, we'll be under sort of a tight timeline, but this would be before you again, assuming that both boards, FinCom and HTC, approve it.
Joe, do we need to post a select board meeting for all of us to attend the hearing? Or is that not necessary because it's a hearing?
If there's going to be a quorum going, I would recommend posting an agenda. Yes. So Michelle and I can help you. We can definitely post that for sure.
I think we should so that everyone can plan to attend. If we don't
Yeah,
have
certainly.
quorum, then we don't have quorum.
Sure. Yeah, we'll post that. No problem.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, great. That moves us to the next agenda item, which is agenda item D, an update on the distribution of the Town of Wenham Personnel Handbook to all non-union employees, board, and committee members. Joe, who's going to present that? You?
Yes. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is sort of just an update. This board approved the current employee handbook last year, which was amazing because prior to that, it had been, I think, since the year 2000 that our employee handbook had been updated. But Steve, I've been working with Steve and Belinda Young as well, our treasurer collector. Just sort of, we wanted to attach a handful of town policies directly to the end of the handbook. Some of the policies included were code of conduct, health benefit incentive, sick time incentive, drug and alcohol policy, inclement weather policy, etc. So we attached that at the end of the handbook, and we sent out acknowledgement forms as well. We have them not just for employees, but also board and committee members because they fall under the town employee handbook as well. We thought it'd be good for everyone just to review it and just sign off that they have received it. Belinda sent out the electronic request via email about 2 weeks ago now. So just a reminder for all board and committee members to check that. And then once you review it, we'll just have your receipt signed in the Sign Now software, which we'll use to keep track of all the receipts. And Treasurer Collector's Office will be the record keeper going forward. And there's also a onboarding welcome letter that I drafted with the help of Diane Bucco, town clerk. This will be given to new employees and to new board and committee members. It highlights important things like conflict of interest training and open meeting law. And the full handbook with the appendices at the end has been posted on our town website as well.
Great. All right. Any comments or questions about that? Gary?
I'll just say, well done, because this project has stretched over years and we're finally to a good product here. So thank you, Joe, and everybody else on the team.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for getting that done, Joe.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you.
And I would just add that, and I recall seeing the email from Belinda asking for electronic acknowledgement, which I did, and I think it's pretty important that all members of the board review that and endorse it because we're the leadership and executive body of the town, and if we're asking employees throughout town government to non-union employees to acknowledge and sign that, I think it's incumbent upon us as leaders to do the same. So I hope everyone will make sure that they look at that and get the acknowledgement back. All right, that brings us to, unless there's any other comments or questions, I see none. That now moves us to item E, discussion of potential warrant articles in addition to the town's annual recurring warrant articles for the 2026 annual town meeting. Joe?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Michelle. Just waiting for the list to appear here. Great, thank you. Mr. Chairman, would you like me just to run through these
Yeah.
quickly, or do you guys want to review them if you have any questions, whatever you'd prefer? These
I
are
think just a
essentially, yeah,
yeah, quick overview. Be fine, I
sure.
think.
Yeah, the first one is a tax deferral program. This is an article that would increase the income limits and or reduce the interest rate charged by the town for its tax deferral program. And this was originally adopted by Wenham at its annual town meeting back in 1992. Um, if we want to lower the interest, that would be done at town meeting, and income limits being increased would be done by filing a home rule petition with the state legislature. Um, Next one is sort of similar one is cooperative housing exemption. This is an article to opt into a state local option that allows the town to grant tax exemptions to cooperative housing developments. It's my understanding that currently this would only fall under the Maples owners as well, the homeowners, but that is something that we could adopt as a local option. Number three is authority for tax taking decisions under Chapter 14 of the Act of 2025. This is an article designating who has the authority. Doesn't necessarily have to be the select board, but any board, one board has to be chosen to make decisions under the new tax taking law that Belinda had talked about, I think, earlier this summer. Under this chapter, municipalities have about a month after a foreclosure judgment becomes final to decide whether to retain the property, sell it, or take action in either case. Number four is the Hamilton Wenham Regional School District regional agreement changes. These have been the changes that we've been working on the last several months. There's only a few changes, but it would have to be before town meeting vote. Um, these may appear as multiple articles, one for each proposed change. Again, I think there's only three or four of them. Um, Restrictions on multiple board memberships. I believe this is a article that Deidre Parati had proposed, didn't quite make it on the special town meeting back in June, but this would prevent an individual from serving on more than one policy making or policy influencing board at the same time. Debt exclusion for school facilities needs assessment. So obviously the school project, consolidation project, did not pass. So this would be an article to fund a facilities needs assessment for school buildings, just to take into consideration maintenance costs, improvements, things like that. Again, in light of the failed school replacement project. The next one would be authorization for easement acquisition. This is the ongoing 1A project through Mass DOT. This project dates back, I believe, at least maybe 10 to 12 years. Essentially, there's two components. There has to be easements given by the town. So essentially, town property has to be given to the state. Wenham has to sign off on it. And sort of the inverse is that some private land owned by residents would have to be signed off on once we interview the residents and get their okay. That would have to be given to the state to allow for this project to happen. There have been some delays with the state. We are hoping to get this on the warrant for April, though. That is our hope. Um, Similar to the not serving on more than one board article, the Historic District Commission worked on drafting a potential demolition delay provision for historically significant structures to the Wenham town bylaws. This would delay certain buildings from being demolished, I believe, within 6 to 9 months. This was proposed for the special town meeting, but didn't quite make it on, but the HCC has expressed interest in getting it back on the warrant. And this was actually just yesterday. Kate Mallory informed me that the ZBA is proposing a zoning bylaw amendment to allow backyard chickens without a special permit. Currently, the chickens are not allowed anywhere, again, without special permit. The ZBA is meeting again next month to discuss things like, the more granular details, like how many chickens would be allowed without a special permit. So we will get back to you on that. But these are the sort of the nine potential articles that we have proposed, and we're open to any feedback from the select board.
All right, any questions or comments on these potential articles for the spring ATM? Gary?
Just a question, Joe. Is the planning board bringing a subdivision update?
Oh, you know what? Michelle, is there one below? Is there number 10? Yes, I'm sorry. Thanks for pointing that out, Gary. So the town did receive a grant for, I believe, $50,000 to rewrite the subdivision rules and regulations. My understanding is that these have not been written or not been worked on since 1984. So this will be an article to update and rewrite the town subdivision rules and regulations. So thanks for asking about that, Gary. As far as the planning board, they have not submitted any zoning articles to Steve or I just yet, but that's not to say that they won't.
Deirdre?
The demolition delay draft been circulated? I don't recall.
We did send it to town council back in the summer. They instructed us, to basically keep a hold of it until it goes on a warrant. I don't recall if we had sent it to the select board, but we're happy to do that. It has been drafted by the HDC. It's sort of redlined by everyone, but it is sort of ready to go for initial feedback. But we certainly can recirculate it.
That would be great. Thank you.
No problem. Yep.
Right. Any other questions or comments? I don't see any, and this does not require any, yeah, it doesn't, of course, require any action by us at this time. So that moves us to new business. I don't want to add to the time of this what will be a short meeting, but Gary and Joe's reference to the subdivision rules and the planning board reminds me that we have a vacancy on the planning board. And Joe, while I don't recall what the remaining term is in the seat that has been vacated, I believe that it would be an appointment issue until the next election or until that seat comes up for election. And I'm sure we'll have more information to share with the public, but I did want to just get the word out publicly from our board that there is a vacancy, and if any interested volunteer to serve on what's a really quite critical board in the town, the planning board. We hope that we'll find a lot of different applicants. So just
And
wanted
also,
to,
by extension, Mr. Chairman, the CPC seat is also vacant through the
right.
planning board as well.
Yes. And at town meeting, when we honor our longtime public servants in Wenham, I'm sure we will give an appropriate recognition to Rick Woodland. But let me also just add that since we're discussing this, the board's sincere thanks to Rick for many years of dedicated service on both of those boards and passionate advocacy on the part of the important issues that come before those boards, and particularly the CPC. So any other comments that would fall under potential new business, things not anticipated and not put on the agenda?
Just a question. Have there been any applicants for the FinCom seat, or is that also still vacant?
Michelle, have there been any applicants, lately?
There is one applicant that she submitted it yesterday, her application. And I emailed that to Roger and Jeff.
Great. So there is one. That's great.
Mhm.
All right, good. Can we have a motion to adjourn at 7:12?
That's
Move to
Peter's job
adjourn.
usually.
Yeah.
Move to adjourn 7:12 p.m.
Gary seconds.
All right. We'll take a roll call. Karen,
Yes.
Peter, we're setting some records. How do you vote?
I vote yes. This is the shortest select board meeting I've ever been on, ever. By a lot.
Deirdre,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Ben is yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Joe,
Okay.